I've been very, very bad about making recordings lately. I apologize. Uh, Timestamp, it is October 3rd, about 10 a.m. Probably tell by the massive amounts of sunlight coming in through my kitchen window here. It's a very big window and faces the rising sun, which is awesome. The cats love the windowsill in the mornings. It is the best place on earth. But if you're cooking in the early morning, it tends to make this room even hotter. Florida sun, though. Feel okay. Still at 2 cigars a day, which I need to make it 0, and I know that. I'm on Wellbutrin, but I've been on it for like 10, 12 months, weeks now. Reducing down to 2 from like 6 a day was me before I started taking the pills. I don't think they're doing me any good. It's supposed to be a antidepressant or whatever too. Let me just handle this head on. I'm not big on drugs or that sort of thing if I can avoid it. Got a couple cats that are being very active right now. Yeah, it's just been a nutty week so far. So, and I don't even know what I put in here, but Hurricane Helene. As far as I know, it's gone. It's off the map now. But current count, 128 people later. I know I said that in the beginning they were like, oh, there's 4. And I knew that was going to go up. I didn't think it was going to go up that much, though. But it ran through the southeast, some areas that probably aren't used to seeing this kind of storm. Florida, we're used to it, but it still wreaks havoc. The Carolinas and Kentucky, not as much, I think. I guess there's still hundreds unaccounted for, missing, can't communicate with. Climate change, people. The storms are getting worse. Heard it said a few times now, Mother Earth is fighting back. And our bodies do that, when there's some kind of foreign contaminant. Tries to defend and get rid of said foreign contaminant. We're the foreign contaminant. We can live in harmony with it, or we can continue to break it for profit. The choice is ours. But yeah, our store, the store that my entire family works at, apparently flooded. There was at least, and I may have already mentioned this. If I did, I apologize for the rerun. There was, and I've seen video, my store manager sent it to me. There was at least a foot of standing water. So the floor is destroyed, a lot of the fixtures are destroyed, and I guess they're ditching most, if not all, the product because mold, water contaminant, fungi. We may or may not be called to help with the cleanup there. Apparently the organizations that they're working with are being incredibly slow and or less productive than they could be. So it may be time to actually bring in the home team, so to speak. We're still figuring all that out, and logistically, if we can do that. Because it may be considered a hazardous workplace, liability, blah, 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 lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Don't know how this is going to play out. But in the meantime, we are being loaned out to various stores locally. And it is gratifying in the respect that the store we're at right now, there's some political may going on in that store. So we're watching that carefully, and we're all, in support of each other. But apparently there's some possible discrimination stuff going on within entertaining crap. Yay, politics. But we're taking notes and reporting back, so we'll see what happens. But, yeah, it's amazing. It's moments like these. Damn good coffee and hot. It's moments like these that you realize how good you really are at your job. When you walk into a store, the shelves are half full and the warehouse is overflowing. And you can tell that there's like 4 trucks worth of freight in the back warehouse. For those of you who don't speak retail, typically you get a truck a week. And the expectation is that most, if not all, of that truck gets worked out during the week until the next truck and you start it all over again. That has not been happening at the store we're at. It has not. Nope. Now, my normal gig, I got 24 years management experience in retail and another 3 or 4 of just, maybe 5 or 6 of just like grunt work. And I do include the 9 years where I ran my own store because that's kind of significant. Because most people have never run a brick and mortar. That's a neat thing for the resume. And it was a lot of interesting experience for me too. I didn't have a district manager or a regional director or corporate or anything like that. That was all me. I make all those decisions, good or bad. I pay for it, good or bad. So stationery within this organization has become like my gig. Pens, pencils, paper, journals, poster board, markers, all that stuff, school supplies, all that kind of stuff's me. And I usually, at our store, I have like an aisle and a half, which is my kingdom. This store, it's a 1-aisle gig, pretty much most of the aisle. It's a longer aisle because all the stores are laid out differently. And my shelves were walking into it, basically being told by, and I think I'm calling her Barbara on here, my store manager, because I reported to her, what are your orders? And she said, with kind of a cringe, stationery. And I was like, oh, good God, what am I walking into? So I walked the aisle, and it was probably maybe 25% full, which ain't good. I mean, it gives me lots of opportunities to do things, but wow. If y'all aren't making your sales quota, I know why. I know why that's not happening. The secret is you're not making your sales quota because there's nothing on the shelf for people to buy. So, yeah. Mystery. So I walked the aisle, and there were in the back warehouse, because I went back to see what I had to play with. Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking either no one is doing anything and therefore there's going to be a big steaming pile of freight, or they're really good at their job and there's not going to be much back there, which is why the shelves aren't full, because we stocked everything. We're waiting for a truck so we can put stuff on the shelf, because right now this is the best we got. This is everything. It was not everything. There were probably 4 or 5 trucks worth of freight in the back warehouse, judging by the shipping labels and whatnot. Some of the stuff was like 2 pallets stacked taller than me, which isn't saying much, and I realize that. Probably stacked 8 feet high, like full cubic pallet, 8 feet high, that much freight. And just looking at some of the shipping labels as I dug into it, because I dug into it. We're going back a month and a half, shipment-wise, which is like 5-6 trucks ago. So, If you don't have people to stock, okay, that makes sense, because, you know, you don't have people to do it. It's going to just stack up there. If you do have people to do it, they're not doing it. I'm not sure what they're doing while they're on the clock, but they're not stocking the shelves. I promise. I've done this before, I know. No one is doing the stocking thing. Stocking is not happening. So I've had 2 shifts this week, and I've been stocking and fixing because there was no rhyme or reason to it. Retail 102. The department should thematically flow like a story, like art. But it should. I mean, you won't go to like a store that sells food, you know, and find rice next to frozen vegetables, next to candy, next to, you know what I mean? There's a flow. There's an entire aisle which is nothing but candy. And sometimes that'll even have a flow. You know, it'll be like everything chocolate, all your lollipops, all your suckers, all that kind of, your hard candies, and then to your gum. Next time you go in the store, if you're not used to this kind of thing, look at it and you'll see like a story being told with the freight. You know what I mean? You'll see your vegetables, and then those vegetables that are actually fruits, and then fruit. You know what I mean? You'll have your tomatoes sometimes next to your pastas. You know, there's a thematic flow. This goes together. These are similar items. But I had, you know, pens on one side of the aisle all the way down on the end, and then I had other pens all the way on the other side of the aisle all the way down next to markers, highlighter somewhere in the middle. It's like, okay. This was stocked by Ray Charles. And Stevie helped. So I spent a lot of time correcting, resetting into ways that make sense. And this is boring and whatnot, but for me it's also like a really kind of cool 3D Zen puzzle, you know, making it work. And if you're into puzzle games and whatnot, you can probably appreciate this is like, you know, a 3D puzzle in real life. But, you know, pens to, and I modified because some of the stuff that was already there, pens to markers to pencils to crayons. So kind of going into the like artist, you know, office to artist kind of thing. Erasers and sharpeners with the pencils. They had stuff all the way down with like the poster board, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? None of this makes sense. And here's the thing, customers, whether you realize it or not, you're used to that flow. You're used to things making sense. When you pick up a can of green beans and you're like, oh, I need to get corn, never once do you go, that's in another aisle. You know, when you're at a grocery store or a big box or something like that, I just got green beans. Corn is going to be around here. It's going to be somewhere along this area, right? Canned carrots. It's going to be here. It's going to be here. It's not going to be 3 aisles down, shoved in a freezer. Well, it's vegetables. They go in the freezer. You know, it won't be that. It's going to be right here. You're used to that flow. So yeah, I spent 2 days stocking and or correcting. And I know that their management staff is not great. I spent an hour and a half, because I timed myself, resetting the books. The books basically consist of actual like teenage adolescent books, like we get in a lot of like Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys. We actually just started getting in some Judy Blume, which I think is pretty cool. As an English teacher, as a writer, supporter of early reading and whatnot, I'm like, all right, cool, this is good stuff. Judy Blume, yeah. I know you're not going to get in Three Investigators. Sadness. That was I started out with Hardy Boys, and then I discovered the Three Investigators, and I was just like, this is my series. I love these guys. Jupiter Jones, man. I could relate with him too. You know, short, pudgy, good mimic, smart. Yeah, Jupiter was kind of my guy. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Google it. They've done a couple movies recently-ish, and some of them have been okay. Close, you know. The books are great. Anywho, then you got religious. We get in some Bibles and New Testaments and some devotional books, things like that. You got your adult novels and hardbacks, and then you've got coloring books. You have licensed and non. You have paint with water books. You have sticker books, board books, children's reading books. There are different categories. Oh, and puzzle books are a big thing. Get in a lot of word find, Sudoku, and crosswords. We get in the large magazine size and then the little journal pocket size ones. I took before and after pictures just because, wow, jumbled mess. So, and I timed myself. It took me about an hour and a half, and I completely sorted, gutted, and reset the whole thing. It's probably about 12 feet worth of stuff. Go me. It's almost like I ran a bookstore. So, I actually had that happen a while back. One of the managers came in, and I kind of corrected them. This is at our store. Somebody else came in, and they kind of corrected me. They were like, well, I don't think it should be done that way. And I was so happy, because my store manager was like, he ran a hobby/bookstore for 8 or 9 years. I think maybe you should yield to his judgment on this one. Don't tell me my job. Anyway, so yeah, I reset that, and I was able to put out I think 45 boxes of books, and you couldn't have before. It was just a steaming pile. It was awful. But and that's set up for what I'm about to explain, because I'm going to share this because this was infuriating and boggling to me. So there was a 4-foot section in my area that had their metal thin bars that kind of come out almost like a towel rack, and there's peg hooks that go over the rack and then snap into place. Very adjustable thing, but you could do layers, because the towel rack, if you want to call it that, there are different depths to them. Some of them are 2 inches, some are 4, so you can stagger. You know what I mean? You can make staircase almost. And that way, if you have long dangly things, you can have them hanging behind the things below it, which are further out. I don't know if I explained that well. Anyway, 4-foot section with that. And we usually do use that for our craft stickers, but the craft stickers don't go in the stationery department. So I got this 4-foot section of those racks, and there's nothing on them. So I asked the store manager, who is new, and he's trying to figure things out, I think. I don't know that he's part of the political problem. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to suss this out. But he sent over one of his assistant managers, who I know is part of the problem. And she had the map, the floor plan, the blueprints of how the store is supposed to be laid out. And I had just opened a box of sticker books. Basically a little kid book, 20-30 pages with stickers, and then pages within that you can put the stickers on. Artwork that you could put Hansel and Gretel on the little path so that they can walk to grandma's, So I have an open box of sticker books in my hand. That's important. She comes over with the map, and I point at the towel racks, and I say, I don't know why these are here. Do you want them here? Is there some kind of a game plan that I don't know about? Some kind of a floor plan thing? Can I remove them and use this space? Because that would be swell. But if you need it for something, let me know, because I'm a guest here. But it's empty, and I don't know If it's empty because it's waiting for product, or if it's empty because it shouldn't be there and people are just walking past it because they don't know what to do. But I'm asking, let's do something. And she looked and she said, oh no, that doesn't need to be there. I don't know what that's for. And I said, well, it's normally for the craft stickers, but that's in a different aisle and already set up. So she's like, no, you can take that down. And she said, and you can put some of these, and she pointed to one of the products on the wall that I had just put up as a temporary place. She's like, you can put these stickers over there if you want to. Luther, knock it off. Yeah, you. They weren't stickers, they were bulletin board, cardboard cutout pieces. So, in my opinion, strike number one-ish, you apparently don't know the product in your store and you're an assistant manager. You should pretty much know what's going on. Those aren't stickers. They're educational, teacher aid, bulletin board, shaped decor is technically what the product's called. So I'm already kind of like, okay, you don't even know what your product is. That's not a good sign. And then she sees that I'm holding the sticker books. And she says, oh, those go over there in the book rack. You can just shove those wherever. Okay. I was nice about it, but I did have a moment. And I said, no, you don't just shove them anywhere. That's why it looked the way that it did. Ma'am, with respect, I just spent 2 hours resetting the whole thing. Please let me show you. And she was kind of like, what? But she followed me, and I said, I feel like the receptionist in Beetlejuice. This is what happens when... So I walked her through, and I'm like, the sticker books go here, next to the paint by water books, next to the coloring books. These are all licensed. These are not. I'm like, I've organized it. Please, because I'm not going to be here forever. Please don't let it get broken while I'm gone. I reset it for you. I made it perfect. Keep it that way. And the idea of you can just shove that wherever, that needs to leave your mind. That needs to leave your mind. That is not a thing. Do it right. And I don't mean do it right the fourth time. I was able to put 40 plus boxes out here because I fixed it. Oh. Ooh, I could tell nothing took. So, but yeah, she's one of the ones that we think some of the political maybe is coming from. And just as a teaser, the main reason I'm white. Scandal. Apparently there's a very pro-Cubano movement within that store. Which, you know what? Man, I was raised Federation. Cool. Go Cuba. But that's, you can't do that. That's discrimination. I don't care if the population locally is mostly Cubano. You don't hire only Cubano and fire white and black employees. Which may or may not be transpiring. Not sure. And she tested me when I first got there, and I kind of took note of it. Because she was meeting everyone. We were coming in, it was like 5 in the morning. And she said, hola. And people always think I'm Spanish. And I said, howdy. And her demeanor shifted. She went from happy jolly to, oh. Didn't say anything, didn't need to. So, I think I disappointed her. I am sad. Come on. This is America. We're all welcome here. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Anywho. But yeah, family's okay. It's gonna be a busy, stupid week. We gotta get tires. Had some good money come in. At least get a couple tires. We need to fix that one that we put the fix applied in a month and a half ago. I don't know, something like that. Money-wise, there's no extra, but we can breathe for a minute. Pardon. Because for a minute there, I thought we were gonna bounce some bills. It's been tight. I need to call Fun Size. I'm worried about her. I think she's okay, but last time I talked to her, she was pretty worried, flummoxed. Anywho, yeah, I live near the airport. Did you know that? Um, yeah, yeah. I apologize for not checking in. Um, Politically, normal fun and games going on there. Vice presidential debate. Um, I'm a little surprised that Walz didn't try and push Vance's buttons to make him explode, because I know that he can be a little irritable. But a lot of I'm hearing and reading the term lately, sane washing, which I think is kind of brilliant. It's like calling him a shillbilly. Nice. Um, the sane washing is the idea that we're trying to make like the 2025 platform and or Trumpism seem like this is a normal, okay mindset, you know, and it's not. It's not, guys. We're not a fascist nation, or we need to not be. There are more of us that don't want that than do want that. And realistically, even the peasants that do think that they want that, I don't know if they'll actually like the results once they're in place. I remember seeing an interview with a woman. This was like 2017, 2018, something like that. And some of you may have seen this, and this may trigger in your head. But it was a Latino woman. She was in Texas, and she was very upset, and for very obvious and understandable reasons. Um, Her husband apparently, and they've been together. They had like a teenage kid and a couple of younger kids than that. Tells you how long the kids were all born here. He was apparently still not technically legal to be here, and he was detained by ICE and deported. And she was very, very, very upset, which, yeah, I would be too. You know, if my wife of 20 years got grabbed up and sent to another country, that would upset me a little bit. You know, I'd be distraught. But when they interviewed her, the general gist of her annoyance, not just at the situation, but the reason for the situation really struck me, really stayed with me, because they were both Trump supporters. Okay, I don't think any minority should be a Trump supporter. I think that's you're definitely voting against your own interest, whether you're black, brown, yellow, somewhere in the rainbow. Do not support him, because he's not going to support you. Honestly, unless you're white and wealthy, he doesn't care about you. And he doesn't even really care about white and wealthy. He just cares about the wealthy. That's the bottom line. But she was very upset because, in her opinion, they knew that there was going to be, you know, crackdown and all that, but her husband was one of the good ones. Surely they wouldn't come for him. It's missed the point. It's not who they are. They don't go, oh, well, this is one of the nice ones. They go, this is a brown person. They invaded. We need to get rid of them. That's who these people are. Very anti-federation. Very anti-federation. I can't abide that thinking, but I'm willing to bet she didn't vote for him again. I hope. And I hope he made it home. Like, here, home. Like, not, you know, where he lived 30 years ago, but his home's here now. I get he had a successful business in Texas. Family was loved by the community, blah, 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 blah. But he was here illegally, technically. He had never gotten that straightened out, and ICE deported him. So, yep. They don't care. They don't care. Look up some of the speeches and writings of Stephen Miller, Trump's goal-like crony. Look that up. Steve Bannon. It's nightmare fuel. Anyway, I've blabbered long enough. I will try and be more regular. I've been eating bran and... Wait, no, that's not it. With my recordings, I will try and be more regular. I apologize. I don't want anybody worrying. I'm okay. All right. Make it a great day.